So we're going to do 1 through 14 of chapter 26 right now, and we'll see how far we can get and then go to the next section. We're talking about the tabernacle, and the tabernacle is going to picture Christ, and all of his attributes are going to be coming out in this. And once you see this stuff, you'll notice that the patterns are consistent. So this is going to help with everything. So, verse 1. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen and blue and purple and scarlet yarns. You shall make them with cherubim skillfully worked into them. The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall be the same size. 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another, and the other 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another. And you shall make loops of blue on the edge of the outmost curtain in the first set. Likewise, you shall make loops on the edge of the outmost curtain in the second set. 50 loops you shall make on one curtain, and 50 loops you shall make on the edge of the curtain that is in the second set. The loops shall be opposite one another. And you shall make 50 clasps of gold and couple the curtains one to the other with clasps, so that the tabernacle may be a single whole. You shall also make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains shall you make. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain shall be 4 cubits. The 11 curtains shall be the same size. You shall couple 5 curtains to themselves with 6 curtains by themselves, and the 6th curtain you shall double over the front of the tent. You shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outmost is one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outmost in the second set. You shall make 50 clasps of bronze, and put the clasps into loops, and couple the tent together that it may be a single whole. And the part that remains of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remains, shall hang over the back of the tabernacle. And the extra that remains in the length of the curtains, the cubit on the one side and the cubit on the other side, shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and that side to cover it. And you shall make for the tent a covering of tan ram skins and a covering of goat skins on top. So let's go and dissect these and find out what we are seeing here. And one thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is that there is an inside and an outside. The inside you can't see, the outside you can see. The inside is called the tabernacle, the outside is called the ohel, tent. So your Bibles will translate these interchangeably, and you'll miss what God's trying to show you unless you look up the Hebrew word and find out what is being shown here and what he's talking about. Okay, and this also is not only going to give a picture of Christ and his attributes, but we are going to see little understandings of the tabernacle for the church in here also, okay, and our bodies in relation to him.
And this was their mobile tabernacle.
Yes.
They were traveling, so they would set it up, and then when they moved, they take it down. And
yes. And see, that's the way God wanted this to be designed in the first place. God didn't want a temple that's going to be staying in one spot. He wanted a tabernacle that would move around from place to place and be with the people. Okay, so David is the one that wanted to bring God a temple. He's like, well, here I am living in a nice house. Why can't I build a nice house for God? Well, God said, I really didn't want that, but since you want it, I'll go ahead and go with it, and you're not going to do it. Solomon's going to do it and all this. So anyway, that wasn't God's original plan. His plan was to be the tabernacle and move around when we moved around. Or actually, we would move where he was going. That's who we should follow, him. So that's a good point that you brought up. I'm glad you did that.
I didn't really think that he didn't eventually want, I just thought the tabernacle was temporary until they got to the promised land.
Well, you actually might be right, because You know, there's a spiritual understanding in the tabernacle and the temple, and it's a picture of God wanting to dwell in you. That's what he's wanting to dwell in the tabernacle, in a place on earth. And in Revelation, we read temple in Revelation, that God will dwell in the temple. And I'm working on this. I don't know, but I'm just going to throw this out right now. I wonder if that isn't the spiritual temple that he's talking about, that we are being built up as living stones in the temple. And we are all individuals that move around and everything. God is wanting to dwell in the temple or the tabernacle, the people. And when we are collectively united together, we are living stones in the temple.
Yeah.
So,
Our bodies considered a temple?
our bodies are considered a tabernacle.
Or
Because we move
tabernacle?
around. Yeah, we move around.
So,
The living stones.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah, there's a verse, I can't remember where it's at right now, but we're living stones in the tabernacle.
so he really wants to dwell
In the temple.
within us, not outside.
That's what all this is picturing, us coming into relationship and dwelling with God. And that's why God made this inside. What was the inside made out of?
Linen.
White linen, and what else? Gold. The entire inside, everything inside is made of gold. All your instruments, the table, everything is made of gold. The pillars are made of gold. Okay, so everything about the inside tabernacle that you can't see is made of gold. That's going to picture Christ, his deity.
And the goat skins over the top are just kind of to protect it, keep it clean.
Well,
And
there's
a covering.
there's
God's
a,
covering over it.
you know, why do you think they put 4 on there? Why do you think there's so many coverings instead of just one? He's trying to show us something.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I looked up the meanings.
What are they?
Okay, the fine linen is, now these are all Jesus, right?
Yes.
These are the pure humanity is heavenliness, royalty, and redeemer. The goat hair is the sin offering, which the goats were sin offerings. The ram skin dyed red is the bloodshed. And the debatable, what is that last animal, who knows, is his earthly appearance and protection from the harsh elements of the wilderness.
Well, let's come back next week and do chapter 27, because she just summed it all up right there. Took all the air out of my balloon. Good job.
You should have just said, oh, that's okay.
No, I am glad. I want you guys to dig this stuff up on your own, because sometimes I may come across something that I don't really understand, and you guys may help me understand it. So I appreciate you guys doing that. That's very good. Very good. So now you can see I'm not making this stuff up, right?
No, you.
They actually do mean something. And we read over this stuff and we never realize it, until you stop and start dissecting it and finding out what they are. It's a good job. Anybody else got anything they want to add?
Can you restate those?
Oh, he's gone too.
Yeah, I will.
Verse by verse, he's going too.
Yeah, you're right. But you did a good job on them.
Thank you.
Wow, very good. All right, so verse 1, moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, blue, purple, scarlet yarn, and you shall make them with cherubim skillfully worked into them. What do you guys pull out of here that you can see the guy's trying to show us?
Of course, it was a pattern of things to come.
Okay, it's a pattern. What type of pattern?
I know.
Okay.
The cherubim are protectors of God's holiness to separate sinful humanity from God's holiness. And
Yes.
so they're in a layer where the priest can look up and see them and be reminded that his holiness is protected.
That's what this first covering is going to picture, where you can look up and see the cherubim on the red, white, blue, and purple linen right here. So that's what that covering, the first covering, is going to show you, and it's going to be the holy covering from the inside. Very good.
And those colors were the rarest colors and hardest.
They were very hard. White is really hard to get. Your linen will be white, but they had to bleach those in addition to that. You know where the reds comes from.
We know them.
Yeah.
We know where the red is.
That's right.
That was the first excitement.
The toa worm,
Yeah.
the tecolette, the blue, will come from a little snail that comes from the ocean. Well, that little snail has a little gland in it that's got a dye gland that when it gets attacked, it squirts out a little thing like a squid, you know, a little bit of dye. Well, that's where they get the dye from. And I think it takes like, bunches, hundreds of these snails to make a thimble full of blue dye so they can dye their garments blue or whatever it is blue. It's unbelievable. So yeah, okay. Well, one thing I want you guys to know here is this word tabernacle is mishkan. And it comes from shakan, and it means to dwell. So this is the dwelling place of God, the tabernacle on earth. Okay. And this is going to picture Christ's humanity while he's here on earth. So Mishkan is tabernacle. Ohel, we're going to see here in a little bit, is tent. Okay.
How are you spelling Mishkan?
Mishkan.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you a verse here. John 1:14, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory. Glory is the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. Okay, this is him in his tabernacle, his body. And we look forward to the tabernacle in heaven that this is a picture of, pictures Christ on earth. Okay, Hebrews 8:1-2. Says, now the point in what we are saying is this: we have such a high priest, of one who is seated at the right hand of the throne of majesty in heaven, a minister in the holy places, in the true tent that the Lord set up, not man. Okay, so this is talking about Christ. And it also will picture the church being built. So then you are no longer strangers and aliens, but fellow saints, citizens and saints and members of the household of God, built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Christ Jesus himself being the cornerstone, in whom the whole structure being joined together grows into a holy temple in the Lord. There you go, temple. In him you also are being built together in a dwelling place for God by the Spirit. So, maybe God does want an actual temple. So, good. I'm glad you guys do that. Okay, so then he is going to dwell among us and in us. 2 Corinthians 6:16 says, and what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you are the living temple of the living God, as God has said, I will dwell in them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Temple is naos, and it's properly translated dwelling place. So it doesn't know, it's not temple. You are the dwelling place of the living God. Okay, that's what that word naos means. So, the Spirit, who is God, can dwell in believers once they're cleansed by Christ. Okay, and we are all together being built up as a spiritual house, a dwelling place for God. 1 Peter 2:4 says, as you come to him, a living stone rejected by men, but in the sight of God, chosen and precious, you yourselves are like living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house, to be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices accepted to God through Jesus Christ. So there's your living stones verse. Okay, so everything points to the spiritual. 1 Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you. If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. There's a lot of verses bringing this in. I got a couple more, and we're gonna, get into the next verse here. But when Christ appeared as a high priest of the good things that have come, then through the greater and more perfect tent, not made with hands, that is not of this creation, he entered once for all into the holy places, not by means of the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood, thus securing eternal redemption. Revelation 21:3, and I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, behold, the dwelling place of God is with men. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. Okay, so the physical tabernacle and temple was given to us to understand this. Okay, he will dwell with man in a holy place as he did in the garden with Adam. Okay, so let's dissect this verse that we're in. 10 is a number of what?
Tribes. The 10 tribes.
12 tribes.
I'm sorry.
You're real close. You're just 2 off.
Math isn't
You're good though. 10 curtains. 10 is a number of perfection
Yeah.
and divine order. Okay, nothing wanting. It's perfect. It's complete. Nothing to be added. Okay. So then you've got curtains. That's Yeriah. That comes from Yara, means to quiver, shake, or tremble, just like these curtains are shaking in the wind, just like curtains do. Okay. Linen is shesh. What do you know about linen?
It's made out of flax.
It's made out of flax. And what color? Pure. What color?
Right.
White. Okay. Luke portrays this color when he talks about Christ's garments. He says they were shining white and everything when the soldiers took them off. And we'll pull that in together here with the rest of the Gospels in a minute. Fine twisted is Shazar. Revelation 19:8 says that it was granted to her to clothe herself with fine linen, bright and pure, for the fine linen is the righteous deeds of the saints. It doesn't say that. It says righteousness of the saints. When we become into Christ, we put on his garment of righteousness, not our works. So I think that word deeds is not in that translation, so it was added in there. They should have put a parentheses about it, but it's righteousness. Okay. And then we have the color blue. What does blue picture? Heaven and divine law. Okay. John is the one that portrays Christ as God from heaven. Purple, what's that picture?
Royalty.
Royalty, kingship. Matthew portrays Christ as king. Scarlet pictures? Blood, which comes from an offering. So here's your,
Sin offering.
Yeah, it comes from sin offering, but it also comes from the offerings that are pleasing to God, like the Olah and the Shalamim, the lamb at Passover, your peace offerings. So all of those shed blood, and that's all pictures of Christ. He's the one that brought us peace with God. He's 100% devoted to God, like the Olah. He's the first fruits. He's the sin offering that took our sin away. So he's all of that, and that's what that scarlet is going to picture, all of the offerings. And then you have the cherubim, which are the cherubim, is what we say they are, cherubim, and they are the ones that stand over God's holiness and protect God's holiness. But do you realize that if they're protecting and opening, that also says that there is access for those who have the right to go back there.
Right.
Okay, so,
Which in those days was just the high priest.
My priest on one, wasn't it just one day?
yes,
One day of the year? The whole room for one day of the year.
only the high priest can go into the Holy of Holies one day a year. That's it. And he better be cleansed and done all the ritual things before he goes back there. Otherwise, guess what?
Drops dead.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right. So, and I'm going to throw this out right now too. A lot of people think that they tied ropes on their feet and they had bells on their things to go back there in the Holy Holy so they can hear them. No. You're going to see, and this is in Leviticus 16, the high priest, before he goes back there, takes off the bells and whistles and goes back there with nothing but pure white garments, nothing on them.
His undergarments.
That's right. Everything is white. So keep that in mind. When you hear that, I've been misled by that. He didn't have bells on. And think about it. If that's the holy place of God, and there are angels on the curtains symbolizing the holy entrance back into the garden, they're there to keep the holiness from being defiled. God is going to take care of you if you are going to defile him before you get back there, not after. Otherwise, the place isn't pure anymore. Okay? So just keep that in mind. And there was no rope that they tied on their feet. If he died outside the curtain, any other priest could have went back there and got him. They were all allowed to go in there and do the menorah and the showbread and burn the incense and all that. So just keep that in mind. That's a miscommunication on our part because we don't understand.
One cubit, so if you dropped over dead, they could reach in there with a hook.
Candle snuffers.
Yeah, you could, but that didn't happen. God would protect his holiness before you got back there. All right, so these angels also keep watch over the elect. Hebrews 1:14, are not all ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who are inherit salvation? I believe we all have an angel that guards us, protects us, keeps us from harm that God does not want to happen until a certain time or whatever. That doesn't mean nothing bad is ever going to happen to us. That means it's going to be ordained by God. Okay? And by gosh, if it's my time to go, you're going to go. Okay? Ain't nothing you can do about it anyway. And don't keep me here. I want to go. Just like Paul, I want to go to heaven, but it's better that I stay here. So, anyway.
But these aren't the cherubim, though, these servants. I mean, the cherubim's job, that's their job right there.
Cherubim, yeah, they protect God's holiness. Cherubs.
Yeah, the cherubim, but they don't. They're to serve for the sake of those who are to inherit salvation. They're not for us. These guys are like the admirals and the generals and the.
I haven't thought about it that far. Let me think about that because you may be onto something. Now, angels, the word is malach in Hebrew, and
Messenger.
it means messenger. Yeah. So we do have messengers. Who knows? We may have talked to a messenger. We may have talked to an angel and not even known it. Mm-hmm. We may have been protected by an angel of some sort that got us out of a situation and didn't know it. You never know. But yeah, that's a very good point because cherubim, I'm going to have to look that up. What's the difference between a cherubim and a cherub and a malach, messenger, which is an angel? Good point.
Yeah.
See, that's why I like you guys doing your homework. Good job. All right. So we've got scarlet, purple, white, and blue. Okay, check this out. I don't know if you guys ever noticed this or not, but when you go to all four Gospels and they're taking Jesus' garments, look at what gets recorded. John says, and the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns, put it on his head, and arrayed him in purple, which is porphyros, and it's a bluish red robe. And you go to Luke 23, and he says, and Herod with his soldiers treated him with contempt and mocked him, then arraying him in splendid, which is lampros. That is bright clothing, bright white clothing, sending back to Pilate. Okay. Then you have Mark that says, and they clothed him in purple, that's porphyra, which is really purple, cloak and twisting crowns together, they put it on him. And then you have Matthew that says, and they stripped him and put scarlet, kokinos robe on him. So do you see how all four of these people and our gospel writers are portraying these colors? You'll have a skeptic to say, see, they don't even know what they're talking about. White, purple, blue, red, they're all different colors. They're all being portrayed in Christ's garments. And each one of these characters are portraying Christ in a different light also. King, priest, man, and servant, Savior. So something else that's interesting is you're also going to see this connection with the four Gospels in Ezekiel 1:10. As for the likeness of their faces, each man had a human face. The four had a face of a lion on the right side, the face of an ox on the left. The four had the face of an eagle. So you have man, lion, ox, and eagle being portrayed right here in Ezekiel, which are the four Gospels. Okay, so the inside pictures what? Christ's purity and his glory. The outside pictures his humanity. He looked like every other man. That's why this bland outside garment is on the outside. You're looking at him, he looked like any other man. Inside, he was pure, incorrupt. Okay, and all of these colors are also the colors of what I believe are the Melchizedek colors. Remember that robe that Jacob wore? I believe that would have had the colors representing all these. I believe it would have had purple, scarlet, red, and white. And we also find a statue in Egypt. I didn't have it on here. I think I showed it to you before, of a person that they say was Joseph, that it was his tomb or whatever, and they had a statue there with garments that had those colors on them, on the statue. So there might be some evidence right there that that was actually Joseph, and shows us that was accurate. Verse 2, the length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall be the same size. 28 can be divided by 7 and get 4. 4 times 7 is 28. 7 represents what? Completion. You should know.
Days of the week.
Huh? Days of the week. Completion, perfection, and holiness. Anybody remember what 4 represents?
So 10, is 10 the same as 7? Because 10 was perfection complete.
In a way. 7 is perfection and complete, and 10 is more for divine perfection and completeness. Good catch, though. These sometimes are similar. 4 corners of the earth. So the 4 represents created earth. The creation or earth. So just remember that when you bring these, and they'll be consistent. When you see these in the scriptures, they will, if you bring that understanding in, it'll start bringing out more when you see this stuff. Okay, so there shall be 10 curtains, all the same, symbolizing divine order. So we're seeing the understanding of God's completion, perfection, and holiness being established on earth. 4. Okay, 5 curtains shall be coupled one to another, and the other 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another. So 5 coupled together on each side. 5 is the number of?
Man?
Come on, you know it. Grace.
Grace. Okay.
6 is the number of man. He was made on the 6th day.
Grace.
Grace. Very good. And that will always show that when we're pulling this stuff out. Okay. Verse 4, and you shall make loops of blue on the edge of the outmost curtain in the first set. Likewise, you shall make loops on the edge of the outmost curtain on the second set. Now, loops connect. They hook things together. Okay. Blue is the picture of what?
Heaven.
Heaven, divine, divinity. So this is going to picture our communion with God. 5, 50 loops shall make on one curtain. 50 loops you shall make on the edge of the curtain that is in the second set. The loops shall be opposite one another. 50 pictures what?
Jubilee.
Jubilee. What else?
It's when all property goes back to the previous owner, and the all debt is wiped clean.
That's right. Redemption and deliverance. That's what the Jubilee was picturing. That's going to be later on when we get to, I think, Numbers. Jubilee pictures redemption. That's when all property goes back to the rightful owners before it got sold or stolen or taken, and all slaves and prisoners and people that are in debt are set free. So that's what 50 is picturing. Redemption, Jubilee, and deliverance. Okay, so you have 5 loops on each side of the curtain that make 10 loops per curtain. 5 curtains are connected to make one curtain, and they total 50 loops. Okay, on both sides of the tabernacle, you're going to have 50 loops. You're going to have redemption on both sides, all the way down. Verse 6, you shall make 50 clasps of gold and couple the curtains one to the other with clasps so that the tabernacle may be a single whole. 50 is kamashim, and it, I already told you, pictures redemption, deliverance, and jubilee. Okay, the clasps are teres, and they are going to be made out of zahav, gold pictures, purity and deity. Okay, all the inside is going to be made out of gold, the clasps and everything. Okay, and then you couple these together, that's kabar. You join fellowship with, or allied together and attached. And then these curtains are called Aleph Tav curtains. The curtains. Yah. Okay, who do you think that's going to picture? The Aleph Tav. Jesus. That's exactly right. These curtains pictured Christ. And remember when the veil was torn? Okay, that's when Christ died, he was torn. Okay, so the tabernacle may be one, echad. Okay, so the Holy of Holies was 10 by 10. That's 1,000 cubits square. Okay, I think that's going to picture the millennium, the 1,000-year millennium that's coming up. Okay, you have the holy place, which is 10 by 20, which is 2,000 cubits. We've been about 2,000 years since Christ died. But now we are priests that can enter this area spiritually because Christ died and made that possible. The veil was torn. Okay? And there was 2,000 years that was spent outside this period from the flood or Abraham's promise until Christ came. So you see how these patterns just consistently keep coming up, and when you start understanding these numbers and everything.
You know, the curtains being clasped together makes me think of the church and God's people and the bride of Christ being one, all of us being one.
Okay, so we're all united as one. All right.
Is this at the front?
This
It's
is
all one piece, all the way across the back, across the side, and then across the front. They're clasped together, and you unclasp them to go inside.
no. These are, I think, down the sides. I
And the
believe.
sides to hold it onto the acacia.
Well, you have 10. Let's see. What does it say here? 50 claps.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 and 10. I think that's the front and the back of the Holy of Holy place. I think that's what's being pictured here.
Okay.
I believe. Okay, because he's the one that was tore that gave us access back to the Holy of Holies. Now, he's also the one that tore that gave us access into the holy place.
Yeah, my book says 50 gold clasps and fasten the long curtain together with clasps.
Yes.
So the curtains are fastened together up and down, right?
Yes, well, I think they're looped with the loops, but then they're tied with the clasps from the top, I believe.
Okay.
Fasten the loops, long curtains with the clasps.
Fasten the loops with the, okay. So you got them on the sides. You got clasps on the sides, connecting to the
curtains
loops.
together.
Okay, all right, thank you for that clarifying thing. Yeah, you've got this, because they're the same amount. 50 loops and 50 clasps connecting the loops together.
It says, in this way the tabernacle will be made of one continuous piece.
Echad. And remember, when you hear that word echad, it's a total oneness with whatever it is. It's one in unity. The Trinity is echad, one. God is one, but God is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay, so just think that when you bring in echad. Man, very good. I'm glad you guys clarified that for me. Verse 7. You shall also make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains you shall make it. Guess what? This tent is called the Ohel. So you're going to make this covering, and it's going to cover the outside. So you've made the inside. God already told you what the curtain was there. It's had blue and purple and everything on it. That's your first one. Okay. Now you're going to have a second one. It's going to be made out of goats. Okay. That word hair is not in the Hebrew. So it's going to be made out of goats. That's just what it says. Gedi. Okay. Gedi
It might
is,
not have been the hair, it might have been the skins.
yeah,
Taking the skin out,
it'd be the skins.
the hair on
Yeah. I think all these are the sins. The ram skin, the goat skin, the porpoise skin. I believe these are all skins of animals, and they all picture Christ. Okay. So this one is going, now notice that there are two words in here. For goat's hair, for a tent over the tabernacle. He's using both words right here in the same sentence, showing you that there's a distinction between a tent and a tabernacle, an ohel and a mishkan. Okay, so we're already done the mishkan, the tabernacle. That's this one. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to do the ohel, which is going to be the rest of this stuff. Okay,
Can you spell these words for me?
the ohel, O-H-E-L, and you've already got mishkan, mishkan, K-A-N, M-I-S-K-A-N.
Okay.
Okay, so they're both in this one verse right here, and when you're seeing that kind of stuff, that's when you need to start understanding what the difference is. Okay, goat, this will be over the linen. Okay, and goats are typically used for sin offerings. That's right. So now you're going to have the sin being covered over the righteousness that's already there. Okay, and you have 11 curtains. What is 11 picture?
Don't they have another one to make it 12 for the front?
Nope. Nope. You have 11. 11 pictures disorder, chaos, judgment, disorganization, and imperfection. Okay? You've got 10, God's perfection, divine perfection, and you've got 12 is divine government, and in between is chaos. Okay? Kind of reminds you of Creation Week, doesn't it? When the waters were... Anyway... Okay, and that's from E.W. Bollinger, by the way. That's not me making this up. So, something that I thought about in this is think about Genesis 11. That's the Tower of Babel, when things were in chaos, and it pictures disorder and rebellion against God. When you had 11 apostles, they were incomplete and had to get another one to make it 12 for divine government, right? Or order. Okay, and then the last word of this verse is, you shall make it. That word it is Aleph Tav. You shall make Aleph Tav. So here again, this is pointing you, this is Christ. Okay. Verse 8, the length of the curtain shall be 30 cubits, the breadth of each curtain shall be 4 cubits, the 11 curtains shall be the same size. So unlike the 10 times 28 linen curtains that we just looked at, which is 280 for the tabernacle, you now have 11 times 30 goat skins curtains, which make 330 of the tent. Okay, so now we're covering the whole tent. 30 cannot be divided by 7, showing imperfection. 30 symbolizes maturity and responsibility in the right moment. The acceptance of time. Both John and Jesus began their ministry at what age? 30. Okay. And the priests began ministering for the people at age 30. Okay. Verse 9. You shall couple 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves, and the 6th curtain you shall double over at the front of the tent. So, here are 3 Aleph Tavs in this verse. You shall couple Aleph Tav 5 curtains by themselves, and Aleph Tav 6 curtains by themselves, and the 6th curtain, Aleph Tav curtain, you shall double over at the front of the tent. So you have 5 on one side and 6 on the other, showing a lack of symmetry, huh?
I said showing 11.
Yeah, that's 11. 5 times 30 times 4.
150 times 4, 500.
600 square cubits. Okay. 6 times 30 times 4.
180 plus 4 times
720 cubits. And when you add 720 and 600, you get 1320 total. Okay. 5 depicts the number of
Grace.
grace. 6 depicts the number of man. Okay. Christ depicts God's grace in his humanity and his in the grace that he's going to bring in his humanity. 5 and 6. And it says double over, kafal. It means folded, doubled, double over. The thing that come to mind is, to me, is when his face cloth was doubled over, folded, and lying by itself in the tomb. I don't know if that's a connection with this or not, but that's what comes to my mind. This word front is panay, and it means face. So here you are in the face of the ha'ohel, the tent. Okay, so Christ's pure white righteousness bore, it covers our sin. The hairy goat skin is his humanity, and he was the veil, the curtain that was torn that brought us grace from God. The inside is pure white righteousness of God. The fine linen, the outside is a hairy goat skin. So this next one should be hairy goat skin. Now, I might have this red and white one backwards right now, but we'll get to that here in some of the next verses and show you. Okay, so you want to be inside where you commune with God, and you have all this pure, perfect righteousness and deity, and your judgment is on the outside, the covering on the outside. Okay, so there's the difference in the two. Okay, if you are not in Christ, you've not had your sin atoned for, you're still outside, and you'll have to make atonement for yourself, and you won't be enough. Okay. Verse 10. You shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain, that is the outermost in one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain, that is the outermost in the second. We've already went through the 50 loops. What color are they here?
Blue.
Blue. All right, so blue is going to picture God's heavenly divinity. Okay, so how do you, let's see here. Verse 11, you shall make 50 clasps of bronze and put the olive top clasps into the loops and couple the olive top tent together that it may be a single whole. Notice what's different here. These clasps are going to have what?
Bronze.
Bronze, not gold. So the clasps in the Holy of Holies are going to have gold. The clasps on the outside are going to have bronze. What does bronze picture? Echo Shed. What does bronze picture? Judgment. The altar is outside. This altar is going to be made out of bronze. That's where all your judgment goes, on the altar, so that you can come before God in holiness. The animal, the offering, has taken your sin away. You are made holy when the blood is shed, and now you can come before God. So bronze pictures judgment. Okay, and by the way, if some of your verses say brass is wrong. That wasn't even invented yet. Brass is copper and zinc. What they used during this time was copper and tin. So you can have copper altar, or you can have a bronze altar, which is copper and tin together. So that's what they had during that time.
Both
So,
of them are soft.
hmm?
Both of them are soft.
Both of them are soft, yeah.
They can be formed like gold. I mean, gold is soft too.
Yeah.
It's all.
And silver. All these are soft metals, aren't they?
Yes.
All right. And put is ve habitah, and it comes from bow, and it means bright. It means bring or brought. So you're going to bring or brought. Couple is kabar. We already talked about this. It's bringing together, have fellowship with, join together, attach. And single whole, that word is echad, once again. That means one. So all this is going to be one unit. All right, so the tent, goat skin, is attached with bronze clisps, which picture judgment, to the white linen blue loops, righteousness of God, with 10 gold clasp divinity, and become one. So that's this one right here. Okay? So notice that the farther we get from God, either from the Holy of Holies or in the coverings, the items change with decreasing value. Okay? If you're inside, you see gold, blue, purple, white. Divinity, heaven, king, purity, and righteousness. If you're outside, you see blah. Any other man. Okay? So, verse 12, and the part that remains of the curtain of the tent, the half that remains shall hang over the back of the tabernacle. Part is serah, and it actually means remnant. The remnant is going to hang over the back of the tabernacle. Okay? When we say remnant, what comes to mind?
Scrap pieces.
Pieces. What's left over. Huh?
Carpet.
Carpet. Remnant carpet. It's stuff that's left over. And there are some people that believe that this is talking about the remnant of Israel from latter days. Will be pictured with that. Okay, that Christ is gonna, after redeeming everybody, still deal with Israel. Okay, that remains. A daf, left over, remains. A tent is whole hell, so that's the outside. Half is katsi, and that's what it means. Shall hang, tisra, which comes from sarak, it means go free or unrestrained. Over the back, achor, which is afterward, time to come, or back part. So that's could be pointing to the future, kind of like, okay. Tabernacle, is Mishkan. So right here in the same verse, you have the difference between tent and tabernacle. Okay, 13. And the extra that remains in length of the curtains, the cubit on the one side and the cubit on the other side, shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and that side to cover it. So the goat skin was to overlay and completely cover the tabernacle all the way. Okay? 14, and you shall make a tent of a covering of tanned ram skins and a covering of goat skin atop. So the covering, the miksa, is used in Noah's Ark. Remember when he was going to make a covering for the ark? It was to protect him from the weather. That's what that word is used for. Tanned ram skins is orot elim me adamim. It means skins ram of red or ruddy. So you had ram skins dyed red, which is the next one. Ram skins dyed red. Okay. He's the lamb. He's the second Adam that was ruddy. He's the one that shed his blood. This is picturing the Tolah worm, is when you have to dye it red. And this goes over the goat skin of sin.
Is there some connection between that and the red heifer?
The
red, the ram skin?
No, God gave us the red heifer to show us Christ, and that's a whole different, another animal or sacrifice, but it's going to picture taking away death and cleansing the conscience, is what the red heifer offering did. Well, that's what Jesus Christ does for us.
But you don't think that has a connection here with the red skins?
No, because the red skins were dyed red with the Tolah worm. The red heifer was already red.
Red. Oh, okay.
So, but the red would signify that offering and sacrifice. So in that way, they kind of are connected, because you have to have an offering in order to do that. So in that way they are, but they are two different things. Goat skin is tachash, is what this one says. Okay, this is the one that everybody don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. Tachash. What's a tachash? Well, it's only used one place in Scripture that we can pull a thing from. And here it is, Ezekiel 16:10. I clothed you with embroidered cloth, shod you with fine leather. I wrapped you in fine linen and covered you with silk. Now, when you look at these words in the Hebrew, it's ve analek tachash. Not all, which comes from ve analek, means literally to lock or to bolt or to shut. And takash is porpoise skin. So the way this gets translated is sandals of takash, sandals of porpoise skin. So they made sandals out of whatever this was. And
My
I don't,
translation calls it a badger skin.
a lot of them do. But most of the commentary people say it's not badger skin. It's more going to be something along the line of either porpoise or dugong, which is like a manatee. And think about it, they would have crossed the Red Sea. The Red Sea's right there by Mount Sinai, not too far away. You've got porpoises all over in the Red Sea. You got porpoises all over, in the Mediterranean Sea. So you got porpoises that run up and down the Red Sea on the other side, around Egypt. So there would have been porpoise skins all over. Dugongs would have been a little harder to find, but they have those over there still, I believe. And they use those as sandals. So I don't know what it is. I'm going to say porpoise skin. Okay?
Whatever it was, it's divine.
Well, whatever it is supposed to look like,
It's got to be waterproof.
Well, it's got to be waterproof because it's on the outside.
Exactly, and I think that's why it was on the outside, is because
Yes.
whatever it is, it's probably the most water resistant.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
But it's divine.
Purpose of
Yeah.
auto water resistant.
Yeah.
I looked up in the Babylonian Talmud.
Okay.
Okay, it was a massive wild kosher animal with a single horn and 6 colors to the skin. I also looked up the scientific, I guess
Okay.
of what it is, a dolphin seal or the dugong, or it's possibly a method to treat leather.
Okay.
It's just leather, it's just whatever kind of leather they wanted, and a way to treat it. I think they mentioned treating with oil or something else.
Okay.
But that's the scientific understanding of, or guess of what it is.
If it had a horn, you wonder if it was some kind of walrus or something.
Yeah, or narwhal or a walrus.
Or wasn't there a dolphin type creature that had a U-horn?
Not a dolphin.
I don't know. There was a narwhal.
I
That,
thought they were up in the Arctic.
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, yeah, that'd be hard
Whatever
to
it was,
get.
it's divine.
Yeah. Either way, this is all picturing Christ, right? Even though we don't completely understand this one.
We learn to accept it as it is.
Yeah. And this is, as you see these layers, you see the inside is got all the royalty pictures of it. The next one is sin. The next one is offering. And the next one is just any old tent covering. So this is
Human body.
pictures Jesus in his human flesh. We can't see the inside of him. We can only see the outside, and he looks like every other man, but inside he's pure. Okay? So, this last covering is going to protect you from weather, storms, a fitting verse for what we're talking about here is Isaiah 53:2. It says, "For he grew up before him like a young plant and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him." Outside, he didn't have beauty. Inside, most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Pure. Okay. And it says the last words are on top, mahal, above, exceeding, high over heaven. Let me go to 21, see how far I can get. Okay, you shall make upright frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood. 10 cubits shall be the length of a frame, and 1.5 cubits breadth of each frame. There shall be 2 tenons in each frame for fitting together, so you shall do all the frames of the tabernacle. You shall make frames for the tabernacle, 20 frames for the south side, 40 bases of silver. You shall make under 20 frames, 2 bases under 1 frame for its 2 tenons, and 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 tenons. And for the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, 20 frames and 40 bases of silver, and 2 bases under 1 frame and 2 bases under the next frame. So let's end right there, and I'll pick up in 22 if we get that far. 15, you shall make upright olive tile frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood. So now that you got olive tile frames, who are these going to picture? Right. Do you see how this olive tile is always showing you this is Christ here? It's consistent, and we don't get that in our translations in English. Okay. Ha-kersim, that's the boards, and they are upright, amad, which means rise, or raise up, or stand, or place. Okay? And that's the last word of the sentence. Mine has upright in front of frames. Upright should be the last word in that sentence. Does anybody have upright as the last word?
I do,
You do? Very good. What translation you got?
NASB.
All right, NASB. All right, 16, 10 cubits shall be the length of a frame, and 1.5 cubits breadth of each frame. So let me show you what this pans out to be in Hebrew. This is the JLT translation. 10 cubits length, the board, and cubit, and half the cubit wide, the board, the one. Thank God for translators, right? All right, because we wouldn't get that. 10 cubits is how much? Is that much? How many inches is that?
18.
It's 15 to 18. It depends on who's doing it. I think the Egyptian cubit was 18. We'll call 15 for easy math. That's how tall these boards were. 15 feet high.
18 feet high.
So that was taller than this wall.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that wall? 12?
Probably
10?
10.
10? A 10-foot wall? So,
At least
tack on
3 feet
another,
higher than that.
huh?
I said at least, well, 3 feet higher than that.
At least 3, maybe 5. Okay, very good. 1.5 cubits wide. Okay, that's 28 inches wide or more. And Josephus says that these boards were 4 fingers thick. They were that thick. Okay, so ha keres ha akkad, the board 1. 17, there shall be 2 tenons in each frame for fitting together, so shall you do for all the frames of the tabernacle. 2 pictures what? Does anybody know?
2.
Uh-huh. It pictures 2 separate entities, but yet one, achad. Okay, like marriage, man and woman become one. A day has a night and a day to it. Okay, so that's kind of the understanding here. This word 2 tenons, the word tenons is yadot, and that's hands. You shall put 2 hands on the end of the boards. Well, there's what it is. They look like
It
that.
says pegs.
Pegs?
Yeah, dowel joint, but square dowel joint, basically.
Yeah, it's 2 hands at the end of the board. Who do you think that's going to point to? All right.
And then the peg goes through.
But that would be able to be slipped together and taken apart easily.
Yeah, take the peg.
Yes.
And move the tabernacle.
Yes, it would
And
be.
yet it would be strong.
Yes. And guess what we're going to put it in? Bases, okay? So here's the translation of the 2 hands. 2 hands, 2 board, the one fitted, woman to sister.
Joining together.
Yeah,
Like your sister, you're close to your sister.
thank you.
Yeah.
My mind was thinking in a different direction there, because when men talk about putting parts together, like a bolt and a nut, there's a male and a female, and blah, 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 and that's what was in my mind, but I think you give me the better understanding there. Thank you.
Yeah, it was in a Jewish interpretation of what this tabernacle's for.
See? Thank you.
Yeah.
I love learning from you guys. All right. Okay, these are all made identical, so they can all be placed anywhere in any position on this wall and all fit. Okay. Verse 18, you shall make the olive top frames for the tabernacle, 20 frames for the south side. 20 pictures what?
Be perfect tens.
Yeah. It also pictures completeness and new beginning, waiting, testing, maturity. Okay, lipat negabah temana is side south southward. Teman, it comes from yamin, and it means right hand of a person facing east. Okay, so lipat is from peyah, and it means mouth. Remember, pey is mouth. So what this is showing, the temple opening, the mouth of the temple facing east, makes the right side south. Are you guys tracking with that? Okay, so that's how you parse that out. If you're looking east, the mouth of the tent, the right side is south. Okay, 19, and the 40 bases of silver you shall make under the 20 frames, 2 bases under one frame for its 2 tenons, and 2 bases under the frame for its 2 tenons. 40 pictures what? Testing. And trial. Very good. Of what? What color? What do we make these out of?
Silver.
Silver pictures.
Pure.
Redemption. Silver is redemption. Okay. So, and I think this is interesting that the word 40 is Eden. It's spelled like Eden. I just think that's interesting. This is just me in my mind. This is the base that we came from, Eden. We were supposed to be in Eden, our base, our foundation.
That was
But
the
we got
first
kicked
trial.
out.
As the first
Huh?
trial and testing.
Yeah, that was the first trial. Very good. See, I'm pulling all this out by these words here, and just how our minds work and go back to this place. But yet, this is where we're trying to get back to, the garden. And right here, these bases are showing you that they're going to be made out of silver, kesef, redemption. It's going to be made out of redemption. That's going to get you back to where you're supposed to be, your foundation. And here's what they look like, okay? So, these will be made out of, okay, you want to know the JLT translation again? The boards, 2 sockets under the board, the 1, 2, its hands, and 2 sockets under the board, the 1 to 2 hands. Thank goodness for translators, right? Okay, so the sockets are going to be made out of 1 talent of silver. How much is a talent? Anybody remember? 75 to 130 pounds. 75 pounds, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's got to support that.
Yeah, it's got to support a 15-foot frame board. You know, you're going to have other structures around it. You're going to have a canopy over it, tent, tied down and tied in, so it's going to have a lot of support once you get it all in. You put up a shed or a garage, your frame is kind of wobbly until you start getting the stuff attached to it, and then it solids up. Okay, so,
So you put the outer covering on it.
Yeah.
She,
yeah, 20. And for the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, 20 frames. So here you have north is Saphon, which means dark. This is the dark side, north. Okay, the reason they call it that is because the sun shines and it always creates a shadow on the north of whatever's there, even during the summer, even during the winter. Okay, and that's how you tell whether you're in the woods or not, what side is north.
Mosses on the trees.
Moss on the trees grow on the north side, not the south side. Yeah, very
Because
good.
they're always in the shade.
Yeah, those are always in the shade. All right, 21, and they're 40 bases of silver, 2 bases under one frame and 2 bases under the next frame. So we got a total of 40 sockets, bases for each side. 40 on this side and 40 on that side equals 80. I looked this up. BibleStudy.org says 80 represents freedom from oppressors. Okay, but I think it's interesting that Moses was 80 years of age when he freed the Israelites from Pharaoh. Okay, silver represents redemption. Okay, and 2 separates into 1 echad. Okay, 22. Let's see, we are. I did that in 10 minutes. All right, well, let's go to the next segment then. 22 to the end. And for the rear of the tabernacle westward, you shall make 6 frames. You shall make 2 frames for corners on the tabernacle in the rear. They shall be separate beneath, but joined at the top at the first ring. Thus shall it be with both of them, they shall form the 2 corners. And there shall be 8 frames with their bases of silver, 16 bases, 2 bases under one frame, 2 bases under another frame. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames of the one side of the tabernacle, 5 for the bars of the frame on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the side of the tabernacle rear westward. The middle bar halfway up the frame shall run from end to end. You shall overlay the frames with gold, shall make their rings of gold for holders for the bars. You shall overlay the bars with gold. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to the plan for it that you were shown on the mountain. And you shall make a veil of blue and purple scarlet yarns, fine twined linen. It shall be made with cherubim skillfully worked onto it. 22. And for the rear of the tabernacle westward, you shall make 6 frames. So westward is this side right here. This is the west side. Yamah comes from Yam, and Yam means west, and it also means sea. So you have 40 boards on the side, and you've got 6 boards in the back. 40 and 6 is 46. 40 is the number of testing. 6 is the number of man. Okay. 23, and you shall make 2 frames for corners of the tabernacle in the rear. 2 is added to 46, because you got 6 in the back, now you got 2 more. That makes 8, so now you got a total of 48. Okay. The rear is Yareka, and it means rear, the remote parts, the extreme rear, the recesses. Okay, so now you have 48 boards that we're talking about here. And what's interesting is the corners we're talking about, these extra ones that are standing up back here, they should be over here with these making an extra corner. And I don't really know how they do it. I don't know if anybody really knows how they placed them, but they were to be made, the 2 corners were supposed to be made together. And then we're going to see that they, verse 24, shall be separate beneath, but joined at the top at the first ring. Thus shall it be with both of them. They shall form the 2 corners. So these 2 are going to be formed into one with a ring, and this makes up 1 corner and 1 corner.
Could be a time and groove type deal for the corner.
I don't know. They're supposed to be like all the other boards. They're just supposed to be made together and then bind with a ring. What do you guys know about a ring? What's the symbolic imagery of a ring?
Completion.
Okay.
Completion. Circle means it never ends.
Right.
Eternity.
It's
Okay.
also kind of a covenant too, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. And they are secured at the top. Okay. Yeah, there's a ring. That's another one. A wedding ring. That's why it's round. Very good. Okay, it's a signet, seal. All right, let me give you the JLT translation. And they shall be coupled at bottom, and together they shall be coupled at top, the ring, the one. Thus it shall be to both, to the corners they shall be. Thank God for translators. 25, and there shall be 8 frames with their bases of silver, 16 bases, 2 bases under one frame, 2 bases under another frame. So you got 8 boards for the back wall now. 6 plus the 2 we just said, 8 boards. 16 bases for these 8 boards. Okay, for the back wall. So now you have a total of 80 bases plus 16 is 96. Okay, that's the total for the tabernacle. All the bases running around all the way. Okay, 2 ties are 2 separate things into one, and it's unity with a contrast. So you got 96. I'm gonna explain that here in a minute. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames on one side and of the tabernacle. Bars is bariaka, means bar. Acacia wood does what? That picture's what? Acacia wood is kind of like cedar.
Very heavy.
Aromatic.
It's strong and huh?
Aromatic.
It has an aroma to it. I think acacia wood probably too, but it pictures as incorruptible humanity, because like cedar, things can't get in and corrupted. Termites and stuff. So acacia wood the same way. And guess what? You're going to have how many bars? 5. 5 pictures. You know it. Grace.
Grace.
All right. So this is all going to be tied together with these bars. 5 on each side, each side, each side. Grace. 27. And 5 bars form the frames on the side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frame on the side of the tabernacle westward. So 5, 5, and 5 is 15. 15 signifies rest and deliverance. Okay. Think about the significant holy days. They happen on the 15th of the month. Passover, Sukkot, Feast of Tabernacles. Those are 2 high biblical days. They begin on the 15th. Okay. 3 signifies completeness. So this is 3 times 5, grace completed. Okay.
75,
15, 3 times 5. 3 times 5,
2 times 5,
3.
oh, 15.
Yeah. Okay, so there were 5 bars on each wall, the north, south, and west. Okay. The center, see, 28, the middle bar halfway up the frame shall run from end to end. Now get that. That center bar is going to go all the way through all them boards, all the way to the end. So you're going to have one big long pole. Okay. The back was 10 cubits, and the sides were 30 cubits, 20 and 10. Okay. So we don't really know the lengths of the other bars, but we know that center bar was the center one that held it all together. 29, you shall overlay the olive tav frames with gold, and you shall make the olive tav rings of gold for the holders of the bars, and you shall overlay the olive tav bars with gold. So everything's going to be covered with gold here on the inside. Okay. He's in every item, the olive tav. Okay.
What did they haul this around with? 'Cause this was
Yeah,
very
really.
heavy.
Yeah, they
All that
would.
silver and gold and the big thick boards and 15 to 18 foot long, heavy wood.
I bet you they did it on wagons and oxen and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I would overload a semi truck now.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
there. Think about it.
you're right.
But it sounds like the way they're having it constructed, it's
It's taken- you can take it
possible
apart.
to take it apart.
Yeah, I mean, they would,
Easily.
it was
I
just
mean,
as simple as
set it back
that. I'm just sitting here thinking, what they had in those days, a cart would, you know, for a wagon, crude wagon.
Yeah, you got to remember how many people were here too, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people.
There was a lot of people, but only the Levites could handle the tabernacle stuff. So you had 3 groups of Levites, 3 groups of people that could handle these items, and the priests, you know, had to do the holy stuff, but the other ones can handle some of the other things. So you got to remember there was a lot of people there, and if anybody's been in any mass groups where you erect something really quick, like a camp, or if you're in the military or things like this, when you have a lot of people, they all know what they're supposed to do, this thing can go
Yeah,
up
everybody
quick.
probably had their specific job that they did.
Yes.
Taking it apart and putting it up, and once they got that done, there was a lot of pounds that had to be moved.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of weight there.
Well, we
And
know there were
29.
carts because they got in trouble for putting,
Yeah, they did in 2 Samuel
yeah.
or 1 Samuel. Yeah, 1 Samuel. Yeah, they got in trouble for moving the ark, which wasn't supposed to be on a cart.
So we know they had carts.
Yeah. Okay. So 30. Then you shall erect the olive tav tabernacle according to the plan for it that you are shown on the mountain. So erect is kum. You guys have heard that 100 times. It means what? Kum. Rise. Okay. You shall raise it. Arise. The olive tav tabernacle. If the tabernacle points to Christ, you see the words in there. Christ arising. Plan, mishpat. That's a plan, law, instruction. And this is the third time Moses is told this. Do this exactly like I tell you on the mountain. Why? Because if you mess something up, you're going to mess up the picture that's pointing to Christ. Okay? God wants to make sure you hear and do exactly as he says, so that Christ will be seen. So let me summarize all of this. Okay? The boards are made of acacia wood, which is incorruptible, overlaid with gold, which pictures his incorruptible humanity overlaid with deity, gold, and his kingly attributes, his two natures. That's what those poles are picturing. Gold is a standard by which all other things are set, right? We know that today. The value of your dollar is determined on the value of gold, okay? His divine nature keeps watch over the redeemed, which is the overlay, the safa. It means to overlay. It means to look out, watch over, and keep. Okay? Think about when the disciples were in the storm. What was Jesus doing? Up on the mountain, watching them in the storm. Huh?
Then he came walking out there.
And then he come walking on the water. All right. So the boards are to be raised, stood up, picturing Christ's righteousness and resurrection. The 20 boards on each side and the 8 on the west wall depict expectancy, leading to 8, a new beginning. Okay, 20 boards lead to expectation of a new beginning. 8 always pictures a new beginning. 20 and 20 on each side is 40. That pictures the trial period, the probation of testing. Christ went through trial and testing and didn't sin. At the end of his work, he's finished, and he brought us a new beginning through grace, the 5 bars. The 8 boards on the back of the temple were listed as 2 and 6. They got distinctly separated, those 6 and 2. Okay, 2 is the difference unified as 1. Think his two natures. And 6 is the number of man. Think about his humanity. Okay, and that's the back wall of the Holy of Holies. Adam was cast out east of Eden. Christ gets us back as we move west from the east to God. Okay, all told, there's going to be 48 boards, 96 bases. 48 is 4 times 12. 4 is earth, 12 is government, so you got the earthly government. 96 is 8 times 12. You got the new beginning government. So the understanding of the government on earth that's going to lead to a new government in heaven. Okay? The 2 tenons, the 2 hands that keep the walls secure down in those bases, they're silver, pictures redemption. And the silver rings on top of the back form a covenant, a signet, which is Christ's hands securely tied for our redemption by his commitment and authority. Okay. The 5 bars on each side were made of acacia wood overlaid in gold, picturing his security as he watches over his redeemed by 5, grace. 3 sets of 5 pictures divine perfection. So we have grace perfected. The center bar was unbroken, picturing the unbroken work of Christ from beginning to end in the process of redemption. That's why that center bar was 1 bar all the way through. The other ones didn't have to be. They might have been, half that. Okay. Held by gold rings, which symbolize his commitment and authority for eternity. The tabernacle pictures that since man has been cast from Eden eastward, because of Adam, he has been separated from his creator. But Christ is the second Adam that'll give us access back to the presence of God if we would move westward towards his presence through his offering, Christ, tabernacle. Okay, we can obtain access back to the Holy of Holies beyond the cherubim, but we have to do this through Christ. So this whole system, the tabernacle furnishings, the offerings, are all going to show you how Christ is doing this in the spiritual realm for us. Isn't that amazing? The tabernacle. And this is just the tent and everything. You know, you got to remember that we're on Exodus 26. There's a whole bunch of stuff in Exodus that has already been done, and if you want to know what those are about, go back and watch the videos on those, and if you have any questions or anything. But we're now next week going to be dealing with the veil, verse 31, and we're going to see what God has for us here, and then we'll be going into chapter 32.